presentation. I am Kareen Wright, Online Development Executive at the Jamaica Observer. Managing my aging, that's what I'll be speaking about today. What is my aging? My aging is that report that I received on a weekly basis from the finance department that highlights my clients' purchasing and payment activities. Having a current aging feeds off having an excellent grip on your collections. Now, what is collections? Collections is money. Collection of money is the recovery of cash from a business or an individual with which you have issued an invoice. Collections is an important part of the selling process. The importance of collections. Collections allows the organization to be able to pay the sales professional. If you do not collect, you will not be paid. And if you are not paid, you will be faced with some serious financial difficulties. It also allows the organization to pay its expenses and keep afloat. We're able to pay our light bill, our water bill. We're able to sit in the air conditioning unit for the entire day. We're able to afford the paper on which we print the Daily Observer. It also allows the organization to be able to afford the necessary resources to stand up to competition. So say for instance, we are able to afford the media personalities, which I'm sure has hit the competition of their feet. It also keeps the employees happy and satisfied. We are able to get our ham and our bonuses over the Christmas period, so that kept us happy. Collections also allows the organization to reward its clients. On a yearly basis, the Jamaica Observer has its usual billing awards. There, we are able to recognize our clients and to show them the appreciation that they truly deserve. How to collect effectively? In order to collect effectively, you need to keep records. You need to know the client to which you have sold, the type of client, whether it's a cash client or a credit client, the invoice date, the invoice due date, and the invoice amount. Record keeping in collections helps the sales professional to become more organized and to be abreast of their clients' buying and payment activities. There are various ways to collect. You can ensure that the invoices are sent out on time. More than likely, if the client receives the invoice early, you will be paid early. You can provide polite reminders. And here, bear in mind, you need to pay attention to your tone, because as a fact, some clients will not pay if they are offended by your approach. You can cut off future work from non-paying clients. If a client booked an ad with you and is not paying over an extended period of time, do not book another ad. Do not be too hasty to offer credit. Collect immediately from cash clients. You can form a relationship with the client's accounts payable department. So say for instance, if you have a good relationship with someone in the accounts payable department, more than likely that person will ensure that your invoice is paid on time. You must remain persistent. And if you do have a client in which you are having problems collecting from, do refer this to your manager. Do not keep it to yourself. My collection strategy. Even though I am reliably provided by a relevant document from the finance department on a weekly basis, I do not depend solely on information provided to me. My belief is I am the one who sells and services my clients Therefore, I can only depend on myself for timely and accurate information. Therefore, I put my own systems in place. I use books to keep collection records. I have the client name. I have the type of client, whether it be a cash or credit. I have the publication date of the order, the invoice date, the invoice amount with the GCT, and the collection date. Keeping collections records enables me to be knowledgeable about my client's buying history. I can quickly identify any error that is made. I have 24-hour access to my clients' purchasing and payment activities. It also allows me to save time. I do not have to be searching through the system to find out information about my clients, and I also do not have to be calling the finance department to find out information about my client. It's right there. It allows me to provide quick turnaround time to my clients when the client asks for any information about their purchasing and payment activities. For instance, if a client should call me and say, "What did I do the last time? How much did I pay? By the way, did I pay you?" I can provide that information immediately. Here, I have a copy of my collection book. If you notice, it's clearly labeled. It's labeled the Jamaica Observer Limited, checks collection, my name, my department, and my title. And I do this because the information that is in this book is extremely valuable. It's information about my client. So just in case that book is lost, then the person will know where to return that book. That's inside my collection book. Here I have the company's name. I have the type of client, whether it be a cash client or a credit client. I have the publication date of the order. I have the due date. And here, because I know the type of client, whether cash or credit, I can determine the due date. So, if a cash client books an ad with me, say December 25th, I know that I need to collect on that invoice by December 24th. And if it's a credit client who has 30 days to pay, I know that in 30 days time the client should pay that, so that helps me also to determine the due date. I also have the amount, the total amount, including GCT. And I also have the collection date. Now this collection date is extremely important because it affects my commission. So back in the days, most clients used to pay by checks. And sometimes I used to pick up some of my checks and copy them for evidence. Now then I have evidence of my collection date. And also the transport department sends out email with checks that they collect. So there and then I know the collection date. Nowadays though, because of the advent of technology, more technology, and also COVID, clients usually pay by bank lodgement. So it's harder for me to keep track on when the client pays. So I sometimes have to depend on the system to find out when the check came in. I also ensure that invoices are sent out by email to the clients. Alright, I do this because I want to ensure that the invoice reaches the client on time. Now, when I send this email, I make sure to note that please see a copy of December 2021 online invoice, just in case you have not received it from the bureau. Because there are times when the bureau will deliver the original and then I send the soft copy. And if the client is not paying attention internally, they may pay that invoice twice. And that is not good for either me or the client. I also craft collections email. This is a simple collection email content. I have a clear subject line. So I let them know exactly what the email is about. I greet the client. I have a call to action. That is, I tell the client what I need them to do. I list the invoices clearly and then or reattach the invoices that I'm following up on. I thank the client and then I attach my email signature. Here is an example of a collection email that I sent out recently. Notice my subject line, it says online invoice, and I make sure to say Jamaica Observer. So even if the client doesn't recognize my name and they see the subject, they know that it's an invoice that's coming from email that's coming from the Jamaica Observer. So I greet the client. I say, good afternoon, Nicole. Happy New Year. Please provide an update on the following invoices. So I have a call to action. I tell the client what I want them to do. And then list the invoices. Notice I list them clearly. Then I thank the client and attach the email signature. In between, I also send out gentle reminders by email or telephone. I notice I said gentle because, as I said before, you have to pay attention to your tone. Cash clients are advised of payment policy early. So, say for instance, I have a new cash client. They are advised of the Jamaica Observer payment policy. And if it's an existing client who is still cash, they are reminded of the policy. So I will put my pro forma invoice together. I will send to the client on time. There are some clients who may say, Karine, I cannot pay on a pro forma. Then I will request a manual invoice from the finance department. I keep track of clients' payment on A-Profit or the finance team. I am persistent. I do collections daily. And this is extremely important as today is very different from yesterday when it comes to collections. What I mean by that is this. If you do your collections today, and when you're doing your collections, you realize that there are some clients' invoices that are not paid. Now, for some reason, you don't revisit collection until next week, Thursday. Now, in your mind, next week, Thursday, those invoices are still outstanding. So you're tempted to want to contact the client about those invoices. The client may have paid on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. For me, I do not think calling a client about an invoice that is already paid to be very professional. I am strong on my follow-ups. I am not afraid to speak to a client about money owed. Now here, I have a simple collection called video that I will play.
Good morning, Karine right here from the Jamaica Observer. Do you have a check there for us? No? Okay, can you transfer me to the accounts payables department? Thank you. Good morning, my name is Karine Wright and I'm calling you from the Jamaica Observer. Do you have a payment for us? Okay. Okay, the invoice number is 70001753. Total 80,000 plus GCT. Okay. 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 Okay, great. Okay, so you did make a lodgement to us. When did you make that lodgement? Yesterday? Okay. Usually it takes about 2 days to reach us. So I will check tomorrow to see if it's here and then I'll get back to you. What am I speaking with? Okay. Thank you, Sharon. Have a nice day. Bye.
I greeted the call party. I identified myself. I identified where I'm calling from. I got straight to the point. I'm polite. I use please and thank you. I know who I spoke with. and I avoid slamming the phone when hanging up. And this part is important because some clients do not hang up immediately. So if you slam the phone, it may disturb them. It is important to note that my strategy may not be your strategy. A sales professional must identify what works best for them and implement it. Being a sales professional, being able to collect is an effective skill for a sales professional. My advice to all sales professionals is to work to perfect that skill. Remember, a sale is not complete until you collect. That comes to the end of my presentation for today. I want to thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your undivided attention. I hope this video has been beneficial and informative, and you'll be able to use this video in your day-to-day work. Thank you again, and have a nice day.
Usually cash clients, but the notes about making the list, the dates, the invoice number, all of that, I'm going to
You're gonna okay.
So you don't have it on the computer, but to actually write it down and have it in pattern, I think that
because
is beneficial.
when you do that, if you're away from work, you know, even in the night, suppose you get up and say, "Whoa, you remember something?"
Yeah.
You can grab your book and go, "Okay."
The little phone number you have.
Yeah, you can just, you know, so it's easy. And I mean, you have to recognize that even though we have the A-Profit and we have all the systems here, sometimes there are glitches. So if for the entire day A-Profit is not working, and I client down, I'll get back to you tomorrow. You know, you're a sales professional, you can just take up the book and just say, okay, this is the information. So I found that, as a matter of fact, I've been doing that from day one. I've been here and I've been consistent. So whatever system you put in place, ensure you're consistent, or else it won't work. It won't work. You won't see the benefits.
Just for my information, A-Profit is exactly what?
A-Profit is a system that we have here that gives you all the detail about the client. So we have the sales executives, we enter the ad. So we enter the booking date, the size of the ad, and then finance department would pick it up, and then they generate the invoice.
They have the same thing, but it's called white orbit. But that's what you're going to be introduced to as soon as we get it over. So you can track the client and everything.
Yeah, so you can actually track the payment date, because as I said, most clients nowadays pay through the bank. You know, so you want to know when the payment came in because you have a commission. You know, so you can just track it. The thing with it though, presently it's not really accessible at home unless you're connected to a computer at the Observer. So if there's no computer available while you're off, you won't be able to see anything. You won't be able to send out an invoice. That's the importance of your book, because you won't be able to see any information, right? So if you have a book, you're more knowledgeable about your clients' payments history. Yes.
Okay, Karine, you had mentioned earlier in your presentation, and it speaks to having a good relationship with your clients.
Right.
Okay, so Floyd, right, is a client of mine, right? And so he advertises with me, tells me, okay, he has a budget for $1 million and he's advertising with me. So I'm there checking and I am monitoring and being a good sales rep, monitoring payments and all of that. Then whenever I reach out to Floyd for payments, he behaves as if, because you personally send out the invoice manually and via email. You keep resending, I keep resending it to Floyd. Yes, I am annoyed, but at the same time I have to, you know, basically kiss his ass then, sorry, right? Because, I'm so sorry, right? because I want to maintain that relationship, and he has a big budget that he's sharing with me.
Right.
But at the same time, at the end of the day, at the end of the month, I'm not benefiting from this big budget because he's not paying on time. So
if you have a good relationship with Floyd, I'm sure you can have a meeting with Floyd.
yes, but then he will come with all kind of excuses in terms of, okay, so in the approach he would say that this budget was approved, right? However, hence him spending this $1 million with me. But then when it's time for Floyd to make payments, there's an issue.
Okay. You see,
I'm trying to understand. So the issue is you are sending the invoice. Is he receiving it? Is he telling you that they are not receiving?
Yeah, but he might be having an issue with the accounts department, and of course not being straight up front with me. So while I am maintaining,
So you send it, but did he get it?
yes, I receive it.
Okay.
But he's coming up with excuses and reasons.
Not to pay.
Right, not to pay.
okay, in cases like that, you have to draw for the company policy. Because if the company policy say you cannot get another ad until you pay, you have to draw for that. Because at the end of the day, we have to abide by the company rules, the company policies. So if Floyd realizes that and recognizes that his ad won't come out tomorrow because of him not paying, he will pay. Or he may stop doing business with you.
Question, is it made as a one-off payment or stretches over a period?
It could, well, let's use it as it stretches over.
Right.
I make it even easier because if you default on the first payment, then you will have an additional rotation time. Then you have to stop there and then.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me give another scenario then. So okay, so it is the same situation. Remember, we have Natalie and Kay hovering over us in terms of the quota, right? So you have a quota, and your 200,000 is very important to me each month. So sometimes as a sales rep, you really don't want to cancel that advert because it is going to affect your revenue.
Yeah, and we know that. But if you keep running these ads, it may affect your job.
Yeah.
So you have to decide what you're doing. So yeah, you have to.
As well as maybe she can work with a payment arrangement, and if you cannot, let's just say it's 200,000 per month. If you cannot pay the 200,000 per month, then you can pay the 2 parts or what, then maybe she can work on something with him.
But that's not a part of the company policy. Yeah, that's not a part of the company policy.
But it can be a case also where she could maybe take maybe half of it up front.
Yeah, you can be right. That's what I'm saying. You can have a meeting with him, and you can decide how you're going forward. But at the end of the day, the invoices has to be paid for if the ads came out, because you work for a company and you have to abide by their rules. So Floyd has to understand that. All right, and sometimes yes, we have the quota, but sometimes we can't only think of the quota. Because at the end of the day, we still have to abide by the rules, right? So if you're going to miss a quota because Florida 200,000 did not come in, you have to try to make up and find another client who will pay to get that 200,000. You understand? But you can't go on with Florida on, and he's not paying. We have to.
Because so she's wasting time and money trying to
collect from you, right? So at the end of the day, it doesn't work out. So might as well you count your losses if Floyd decides to pull, and then move on to another client who will pay you. Or probably you need 3 clients to make up for Floyd.
Can't go forward.
Floyd 200,000.
Well, there's some clients wait until the time and statute bar. That's 7 years.
Yeah. But also, if you bring it to the attention of the finance team, as I had said in the presentation, probably the finance manager has a system in place where she can send out a collector. So until you look at that option, then you'll find out. Because I remember, I had years ago, I had a client who owed me $400,000 years ago, and this client just simply would not pay. And I took it to the finance team. As I said, it's years ago, so the finance manager would have been different. And I took it to the finance team, and they sent out a collector. And the man turned up at the Observer with $400,000 cash in his bag. And I had to go upstairs in an office and count out that $400,000. Right? So that's why I say, if the client is not paying, you can refer it to your manager, and then you can see where it goes from there. Don't just keep it to yourself as a client not paying, so write it off. No, they can actually do something about it. It depends too on the amount of money. Alright?
So before we reach finance and the collection, Maureen, most people know, you know Maureen. Maureen also helped with collection. If we're having an issue, Maureen would be the first point before we pass it over to finance. When finance can get it on, finance pass it over to legal. Yeah, there's various steps that we did.
Right, okay? I think I'm wrapping up. Thank you so much again for your attention.
Thank you.
And have a nice day.